Hello friends, this is CA Shilpa Shingare here. As you know, there is a new ordinance amending Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act 1960 is being gazetted on 9th March 2019, and the need to amend or to bring this ordinance was to have a separate housing chapter in the Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act 1960. As you know, the Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act 1960 corresponding rules 1961, they are applicable to almost 50 plus types of societies, and housing being a different kind of, like, the management of the housing society is something different. You cannot compare these management or the provisions of the housing society and the provisions of the cooperative credit society or a bank or a sugar factory. So a thought process was going on, why not to have a separate housing chapter, so that we'll have separate provisions in the act and the rules which will govern the housing societies only. So because in housing societies we also have the elections, and we also have the elections for the bank, for the credit societies, for the sugar factories and all other cooperative societies. Right now, here the basic point is whether we can really justify the provisions which are applicable to the bank or the sugar factories to the housing societies. Now let's say in Mumbai or in Maharashtra, there is a housing society with members having 15 or 20 units or the members, and as per the bylaws or as per the election to committee rules provisions or as per the section provisions in the act, I need minimum committee strength of 11. Now when the members are itself 15 or 20, where from I will get the 11 members in the committee? So this is a genuine or peculiar problem the housing societies were facing. This is one of the problem I am telling you. So a thought process was going on to have some separate chapter or separate provision, so an ordinance, and for that the amendment was very much necessitated in the act, so that the provisions, existing provisions which are there, which can be relaxed for the housing society, the provisions which needs to be removed for the housing societies, and the provisions or which needs to be modified or needs to be added for the related to the housing societies. And a committee was constituted to bring these changes or bring this amendment in the act, and I am fortunate enough that I was part of this committee, which was constituted by the Ministry of Cooperation, Maharashtra. The act is very much gazetted through the ordinance on 9th March 2019, and various provisions, especially various definitions, are being added in this act, and which is a peculiar feature of this act. And the definition, one of the point which I would like to bring here to the notice of all my viewers is HUF, that is Hindu Undivided Family. Now, if you see the definition of a person, that is a person who can be a member of the housing society. If you see the act, the erstwhile act before the amendment, now the person, definition of the person includes everybody. It can be an individual, it can be a partnership company, partnership firm, it can be a trust, it can be a company also registered under the Companies Act, so on and so forth. But it was not having a provision to have HUF, that is Hindu Undivided Family. Whereas if you see the housing societies, you will find that at least 1 or 2 flats are there in the name of the housing HUF. Because if you take the other acts per se, if you take the Income Tax Act, or for that matter if you take GST or any other act in India, you will find the definition of a person do invariably include HUF. And then I used to get queries whether HUF can hold the property in housing society. If the flat is owned by the HUF, then how the share certificate needs to be issued, whether it should be in the name of Karta or it should be name of the HUF saying he is a Karta, and so on and so forth. So when I was a part of that committee, I insisted that this concept of HUF needs to be added in the definition of person, and today in the ordinance we could find the definition, the changed definition of person, it includes HUF. Thank you. Friends, you can follow me on my blog, that is CA Shilpa Shingare Real Cooperative Info blog. So if you have any queries or any doubts, you can very well put your queries there, and I would definitely try to respond those queries, and it would be my pleasure rather to address your issues and queries. Thank you.